Hey everybody, DXUN here, and we're doing a second pass on the Arms Warrior. As you probably all know, the Arms Warrior was probably one of the worst spec that I've played in the first pass, but in the second pass it is pretty awesome, and they have done some meaningful changes to it, and here we are. So, first one that I would pick is Sweeping Strike. It hits 2 targets with your Execute or your Mortal Strike. And Mortal Strike hits like a fucking truck. That's basically the that's the end of it. So if you want to hit 2 people like a motherfucking truck, that's what you do. You pick up Sweeping Strike. If you don't, you can pick up Stormbolt, which is a stun for 4 seconds. And if you can't stun the target because it's not stunnable, you hit for 4 times the damage. So you hit roughly around 40k hit if you can't stun. Shockwave, everybody knows, nothing different there. And if you hit 3 targets, I don't know if it's like that on WoW, but I'll just mention it because I didn't know when I checked it. But yeah, if you hit at least 3 targets within your cone of Shockwave, it reduces the cooldown by 20 seconds. So basically, it becomes a 20-second cooldown. Then the next rank, I picked Impending Victory. Your slam has a 40% chance to restore 10% of your health because you cannot really heal other than that while in combat. And that's one of the big problems they had, is I was dying before to nothing. I had 2 normal mobs attacking me and I would die because I had no way to heal myself during the combat. I had 2 heals after with Second Wind, and I had also... Actually, it's not true. You also have Victory Rush, but if it's a single target that's really hard to kill, you don't have any heals because you can't Victory Rush unless you got it from the previous pull before that. But during the fight after that, you have nothing. So it was really tough. Now with this, it helps you at least survive some of those fights. But again, you also have to be careful that you might actually end up having fights where you constantly have to slam to just get that health back, because it's 40% chance, so you're not guaranteed to get it, and if you don't, then you get on a streak of really bad luck, which I know what that is because just a little tip like this: if you're an elemental shaman in WoD and you had like 45% chance to get a proc on your herd shock, yeah, you know what I mean, right? Exactly, yeah, that sucks. It seems so good, 45%, yeah, 55% chance to miss too, right? Bounding Stride, which no one will take unless you're in a garrison and want to have an alt, like go from A to B anonymously, or maybe a guy at the auction house or whatever. But besides that, I wouldn't use that. Die by the Sword increases your parry chance by 100% and reduces the damage taken by 30% for 8 seconds. So it's a nice little cooldown, but this will heal you way the fuck more over time than this this will keep you alive, but that's, I mean, 8 seconds, and this will still be going forever, and this will have a 2-minute cooldown. So I would take this over this, even for survivability, unless you absolutely need to take no damage and you're taking too much damage, like that can't be healed kind of thing. Next one, Dauntless. Your abilities cost 20% less rage. This one is debatable. I picked this one because I wanted to. I hate, like I said before, in all my builds, I hate being resource starved, whether it's rage or energy or whatever. So I picked this one here. But again, I'm sure 20% increased damage would be really nice, timed up with all my other cooldowns. And when I hit that nice little Mortal Strike for like probably well over 300k with that, would be really nice. Overpowered, again, not a bad ability as well, but again, I'm so busy like smashing faces with slam and fucking heroic strike, mortal strike, sorry, and heroic strike, that I don't really need anything else. But again, if you can work it out to be great for you, then more to you. But again, for me, everything's working really fine with Dauntless right now. Second Wind, that's one where I actually am leaning towards picking double time now. Second Wind is a nice little thing that heals you for 7% of your health every second, 5 seconds of not being damaged for anything. So you could be in combat, but if you haven't been damaged for 5 seconds, that tick for about 17k every second is actually quite substantial. It's not a heal over time while stunned like I think it used to be. I don't know if it still is in WoD or whatever, but it used to be a heal over time while being stunned. It's not like that anymore. Double time is the other one I would go for because it gives 2 charges of charge. Sorry, that's actually what it says. I think too. Yeah, maximum number of charges of charge by 1. Sorry, that's a lot of charges, but yeah, I felt like a lot of the times I was killing stuff so fast that I just was there pressing charge and nothing was happening because there was nothing. It was on cooldown and not close to being done, like quite far to be done. I was actually having the time to walk there to the next pole easily. So so I'm thinking this would probably be a good way, especially if you get your shit down pat and you do really good damage, which I'm sure you'll beat me on damage. But again, if you do, you probably won't need second wind. Pick double time because you're gonna really want that extra charge to keep charging pulls, because it's all about, that's what it's about, right? Warriors about smashing faces and fucking charging bitches. That's all it's about, right? And then you have Imposing Roar, which is your commanding shout, also increases leech by 20%. That could be also another way to heal yourself while in combat, true. But it's I think it's, I believe, 3-minute cooldown. Yeah, 3-minute cooldown on commanding shout, so it's really long. So unless you have a really powerful model that you know you have coming and you don't think you're going to be able to kill it, then switch to Imposing Roar. That will help you at least get your health back up for a little bit of time, hopefully good enough. Because your DPS should be plenty to kill it in time if you can. Actually, that's a good point there. Situational, really good. Then we go to the next one, and we have Cleave and Whirlwind generate 2 rage for each target that they hit. I didn't really feel, again, rage starve because I picked Dauntless, but again, if you didn't pick that and you wanted Avatar, maybe that's a way you can actually generate a little bit more rage for AoE pulls, that is. Rend, that's an ability, so not doesn't increase or change another one. It's like the basic Rend that we know, like, you know, the bleed for 37k for over 15 seconds. And then Bladestorm. And I whooped some asses and I didn't even fucking use Bladestorm. That just tells you how fucking good that is. So if you can actually, if your rotation is really uptight and you can do really well, maybe you can slide the Ren in there. For me, I was just trying to see if I could level with this, and it was definitely fucking doable. And I didn't feel like I needed to put a bleed on anything. But again, I'm sure it will be once we start getting better and increasing our rotation and all that stuff. Bladestorm, again, really good for, well, decent for AoE. But I really liked, for AoE, for me, it was more the mix between Cleave and Whirlwind that I think works really, really well. And then you have also this new ability from your weapon right off the bat called Warbreaker that also does some AoE. And there's also some AoE stuff that you can add to your Cleave ability within the weapon as well. So there's plenty of AoE around, and Bladestorm might not even be needed. It almost reminds me of Marksman with Barrage, where by the end of it I was like, well, I have Edge Shot and I have freaking Explosive Shot, so what do I need Barrage for? Yeah, it kind of felt like that, almost like a filler AoE when it should be a primetime AoE. Anyways, we'll see. And then the next one I picked, Heroic Strike. Focus your range on your next on your next mortal strike, causing it to deal 7.1k additional damage, stacks up to 3 times. So what you want to do is you want to use Heroic Strike 3 times, bang, 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 and it will give you 3 stacks. And those 3 stacks signify that 7.1k times 3 added to your damage of your next mortal strike. There's no cooldown on that. There's no timers. It just stays there forever. There's no timer. It stays there until you use it, until you use mortal strike. So what I was trying to do is I was actually getting those 3 stacks up, and then I would actually use Slam until I proc my Colossus Smash. I would use my Battle Cry time I would use Colossus Smash to crit for it, and then I would use my Mortal Strike and I would crit for it. The insane amount, like usually crit for around 250k on just a freaking level 100. So I can only see and again, I'm not a pro at anything, I'm just trying stuff out. I'm just saying it really worked well. So you have that. Then you have your Mortal Strike. You can add a second charge, which is not bad, but again, usually the time to recharge your Heroic Strikes and get the proc again, to get it rolling again, I didn't feel the Mortal Strike was as good as this was. But again, you could do a lesser version of your Mortal Strike, get your 3 strikes, and then just use it like that and not worry about the proc for Colossus Smash. Then you have Titanic Might, increases the duration of Colossus Smash by 200%, but half its effectiveness. I don't want to half its effectiveness. I like the way how effective it is. It works really well right now. Again, some people might prefer to do that, but not me. And then the last one is definitely debatable if you don't feel your area is good enough. But again, remember, you have to cleave first, and then you have to do Whirlwind. If you don't, then you're losing 20% damage on Whirlwind, which is really, really bad. So Ravager, everybody knows, you just put it down every minute, and it's a 3k damage every second for 10 seconds. So roughly a 30k damage ability. So not terrible, not great. So I went for Opportunity Strike. Your melee abilities have... so if you have more like an AoE heavy fight, maybe pick that up. But for me, it wasn't a problem with the AoE I have already. And again, I'm not even using Bladestorm, so you can only imagine. So it was more between those two. You either have every 10 rage that you spend reduces the remaining cooldown of Battle Cry by 1 second, and Battle Cry is amazing when you time it with your Mortal Strike guarantee or crit. So that's pretty big considering how hard it hits. So I'm sure some PvPers will like to reduce the cooldown of Battle Cry. And unlike Fury, they don't have anything in their weapon spec to reduce that timer. So, because Fury can reduce it to 50 seconds instead of 1 minute. Opportunity Strike, so yeah, so that's what I picked, and it's your melee abilities have an up to 60% chance based on your target's missing health to trigger an extra attack that deals 17k physical damage. This is just an extra on top of everything. So I figured it was, and it's not negligible at 17k, it's actually fairly good. So again, that's what I picked, guys. If you like that, make sure you give me a thumbs up, and you can come in and watch me on Twitch at DXUN54, and see you guys later.